Phone numbers get recycled. 6 months after a line goes inactive, the carrier hands it to someone new, and nobody tells that person whose unfinished business now technically belongs to them. Mara got a new number 4 months ago to save $11 a month. She didn't think about it once. Then the call started, and she stopped thinking about anything else. The first call came her second week with the number. A woman's voice, asking for someone named Eli, sounding relieved just to hear anyone answer at all. Mara said wrong number and hung up. People misdial constantly, it happens so often it barely registers. For a moment, that's exactly what this seemed like. The second call came 4 days later. Same woman, same name, Eli, but this time something in the pause before she spoke made Mara stay on the line. I know you're not really going to answer, the woman said, but I need you to hear this anyway. Mara didn't hang up. Hanging up suddenly felt cruel. Eli's file is thin, the way files are for people who die young and quietly. 26 years old. A car accident, late on a Thursday, on a road he'd driven 100 times. The kind of death that leaves almost no trace, except in the people who can't stop calling a number that stopped being his over a year ago. By week 6, the calls had a pattern precise enough to set a clock by, every night, 9:47 p.m., never late, never skipped. Mara looked the number up out of curiosity. It belonged to a woman named Grace, 61, no obvious connection to Eli that a simple search could turn up. Here's what Mara doesn't know yet. Grace isn't calling to grieve Eli. She believes Eli knows something about her son and has waited 2 years for him to admit it. Grace doesn't know Eli is dead. She just knows the calls stopped a year ago, and started again 4 months ago, right when this number activated. Tonight, 9:47, right on schedule, Grace calls again. Mara has had a choice available for weeks and never made it: hang up, tell the truth, or let a grieving stranger keep talking to whoever she thinks is listening. Tonight, for reasons she can't explain, Mara picks up and says nothing. She just breathes, and listens. Grace's son was in the car with Eli that night. He survived without a scratch. What never made it into any report, what Grace has spent 2 years trying to get someone to confirm, is that her son wasn't a passenger. He was driving. Somewhere along the way, that detail quietly disappeared. Grace talks for almost 4 minutes without stopping, the words coming out rehearsed, like she's been waiting for a chance to say them to anyone at all. She says she's not angry anymore. She says she just needs someone to say it out loud with her, so she can stop carrying it alone. This is the part one finds hardest to explain. Mara has no obligation here. She never knew Eli or Grace's son. She could block this number and forget all of it. And yet here she is, still listening, because somebody has to be, and right now, by pure accident, she's the only one who is. Mara finally speaks. She tells Grace the truth. This hasn't been Eli's number in over a year. Eli died in that same accident. She's a stranger who's been listening for weeks without knowing what to say. A long silence follows. Mara braces for anger. What she gets instead is relief. Grace already suspected Eli was gone. She'd suspected it for months, in the part of herself she never let speak. What she needed wasn't Eli. It was a witness, someone to hear the words leave her own mouth, so the thing she'd carried alone for 2 years could finally exist outside her head. Grace tells her everything now: the accident, the report that never named the driver, her son's silent guilt, the way he flinches when cars pass too close. Mara doesn't say much back. She just writes it down, because somewhere in the call, it started to feel important that someone finally did. The call ends past 10:15. Grace thanks her 3 times before hanging up, each one steadier than the last. Mara sits there a long while, looking at a page of someone else's worst night, written in her own handwriting, in an apartment neither Grace nor Eli has ever set foot in. Here's what should unsettle you more than the story: Mara didn't choose any of this. A phone company recycled a number, and overnight, without warning, she became the only person standing between a grieving mother and 2 years of unspoken guilt. That's not a job posting anywhere. It just happens to whoever picks up. Mara doesn't know if Grace will call tomorrow. Part of her hopes not that tonight was enough. Another part, one she's less comfortable admitting, hopes for the opposite. 4 months in, and a dead stranger's unfinished business has become the strangest, most consistent relationship in her life. Eli's file closes tonight for the first time since he died. Not because everything's resolved. Grace's son still owes a confession to people who deserve to hear it, and that's not Mara's story to finish. But the calling stops being aimed at a dead man. After 2 years, that much is done. It's 9:46 the next night, 1 minute early. The phone lights up right on schedule anyway. Mara reaches for it, half expecting Grace's name. It isn't. It's a number she's never seen, and something about that makes her hand pause over the screen longer than it should. She answers. A pause, longer than Grace's ever was. Then a younger voice, uncertain, says, "Eli? Hey, it's been a while." Mara opens her mouth to explain, the same gentle way she did with Grace. But before she can speak, the voice keeps going, like it's waited 2 years to say this. Mara has a choice again, faster this time. Stop the voice now, or let this stranger finish, the way she let Grace finish. She chooses, again, to listen first. Whatever this is, it isn't about a car or an accident. It's something smaller, older, a fight 2 years buried, never resolved. A recycled phone number isn't just 11 digits changing hands. It's every unfinished conversation the last owner left behind, still circling, waiting for someone to pick up. Mara thought Grace was the whole story tonight. She's already learned Eli left more than one door unlocked. Same time next week, another file. This one's a day off that isn't hers.